My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all. I know, it's here, and I couldn't love it more. This is my one Black Friday purchase. This sweater from Paloma Wool, which I realized when I first told the story about what I bought last month, I didn't tell you the name of the boutique. It's called Good as Gold. I will definitely link them down below. Service, shipping, absolutely everything was flawless, and they have a gorgeous selection. So I have quite long arms, and the arms come to a cute little length. They just hug right at my wrists, not awkwardly short, which is good, I think, in this case, but also not super intensely long. It's like a properly fitted sweater, like as if it has good tailoring rather than being dramatically oversized or shrunken. It is very soft and plushy. It smells like real wool. I mean, it really smells of lanolin, which is a smell that I love. It makes me feel like I'm on a farm, but not in like a smelly farm way. It actually makes me feel connected to nature, which is such a crazy random thing to have happen with an item of clothing. It's the kind of thing that you might expect from like a really beautiful hand-loomed blanket or something. And a knitted blanket and a knitted sweater are theoretically made out of the same fabric, so I don't know why I'm so surprised. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Did you like how I spent the entire introduction of the video reviewing my Black Friday sweater? I think I'm probably going to call the video something like makeup that's on my holiday wish list in theory or theoretically, because the gag is when I actually sat down, there are people asking me like, give me a list of things you want for Christmas. You know, Joe wants to know what I want for Christmas. My family wants to know. And so I have been sort of making a little list and checking it twice and sending it to just a couple of key people in my life. And there isn't any makeup on that list. There aren't any beauty products on that list. There's this list, and the thing that defines this list, given that I'm not actually actively asking for any of these for Christmas, there are things that I really kind of want but don't want enough to buy myself. There are a variety of reasons why the things are on this list rather than being things that I've actually committed to buying with my budget. In some cases it's just that they're things that I've wanted for so long that they've kind of passed out of the realm of my actual shopping list and just into this fantasy realm. And it's almost like they've been put to rest, like the desires have been put to rest. But if someone's asking, then I'm telling them about these things. And that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, because almost nothing on this list is like a holiday release from this year or super brand new or something that's gotten a lot of hype this year. Almost nothing. And I find that really interesting, that when you get down to the nitty gritty, my actual desires aren't a result of the like makeup mill. They're not a result of hype. So that's why I decided to actually sit down and film this video, in spite of the fact that I'm not actually asking for any of these things for Christmas. When you do look at my actual Christmas wish list, which I'm probably not going to share here, maybe after the holidays I'll talk about it, but for some reason I feel a little weird about being like, here's the list I'm giving to my family. I don't know why I feel weird about that. I usually don't have awkwardness surrounding those things and surrounding gift giving, but maybe after the holidays I'll kind of talk about what I sort of was thinking that I might like to receive, what I might actually go out and buy myself if nobody bought it for me, etc., etc. Let me know if you guys would actually want to see that, and then we'll see if it transpires. But if you were to actually look at the list, you'd see that it contains a lot of things that are quite practical. So like a pair of sneakers, like I've picked out the pair of sneakers that I would really like that would work both for running on a treadmill and also like walking long distances, like at a theme park or something like that, or through the city. There's a pair of boots on there. There are a couple of options sort of at different price points for a pair of very beautiful boots in a style that I don't own yet. Boots that would be very practical for me in terms of like wearing every day. It's like a pair of beautiful shoes that could also be really sturdy beater shoes, so there's that on there. Come to think of it, there are a couple of pairs of earrings on there that are just frivolous. I mean, I don't need more earrings, but they're so beautiful that it's the kind of thing that would be my one fewer nicer thing purchase. None of this makeup is really that. A lot of it's like not quite of a bonanza enough to hold that place. None of it is practical. At this point in my life, none of it's practical. And so it just doesn't seem as fruitful an idea to put any of these things on my actual practical list. I still get a thrill to my very core when I'm given the gift of a makeup product, whether it's from a friend or a family member or from a brand for that matter, especially if it's something that I really, really connect with. But it's just my collection, I'm fighting to keep it small. I'm fighting to keep it small. And at this point, a thing like eyeshadow, it's almost like if my sister were to be like, do you want another Natasha Denona palette for Christmas this year? I would be like, no, girl, I'm still working on the one from last year. That's kind of how I feel about it. The first thing on this list is all of the rest of the eyeshadows that Rowen Beauty has released. So with my budget this year, several months back, I purchased the Warm palette. Rowen has these two little quads of their lid illums, which are like a creamy, crushy, mica-filled formula. There is the Warm palette, which consists of 4 little shades, and then there's the Cool palette. So I purchased the Warm palette for myself, and then they have another formula. They have more than just the 2 formulas because inside of the little palettes, the lid illums are a little bit different. There's some variety. Some of them have more micas and some of them have a little bit less of a mica presence. But the formula that they have that's the most textured and reflective is the Disco Eye formula. So they came out with a Disco Eye that's like a champagne color, really, really crushy and crummy and creamy and reflective and textured and delicious. They came out with that, and then they came out with a Summer Disco Eye, which is a ruddier, more sienna colored version of the Disco Eye. So when I placed my order, I purchased the Warm palette and the Summer Disco Eye. And at the very top of my list of makeup that's theoretically on my holiday wish list is the Rowen Cool palette and the original Disco Eye, the first Disco Eye. I would love to have the rest of that because those Rowen products are some of my most reached for, if not my most reached for makeup products, have been ever since they arrived. They live right here on my vanity and I just wear them all the time. The other one's not on my vanity right now because it's in my box of makeup that was wrapped in my makeup advent calendar, but if it weren't living there, it would be living over there. They don't get put away in a drawer, they don't get put away in a slot or something, they just stay right on my vanity because that's how much I love them and that's how frequently I reach for them. So I feel like these other products would be a sure thing for me. I would be sure to wear them a lot, I would be sure to love them to bits, and I would love to be able to review them on my channel. I would love to be able to show them and wear them and play with them and just have that knowledge base because I know a lot of you are really interested in this company. I'm also aware that they've been sneak peeking a release of a 3rd palette. So that one, if it were to release before Christmas, would also be on this list. I am going to want to, in theory, I'm going to want to have my hands on that palette when it releases. I'm going to lust after it. So why haven't I made this purchase with my own budget? It's because I've grown wary over the course of this year of the act of loving one purchase and therefore buying it again. Every time I've done that, I haven't always regretted it, but the second purchase, the repeat purchase, never carries the joy and satisfaction of the first one, and I never loved the second thing as much as I loved the first thing. So for example, I bought those beautiful black linen pants, like the full-length flowy linen pants, and then I loved them so much, they were my #1 thing for like a couple of months after I purchased them, and during that time, I purchased another pair in another color. And I do like the other pair. It was a practical choice. I'm not sorry that I bought them, but that second pair just doesn't have the glamour and excitement. It's like the purity and the perfection of that first pair. It was only good for the one thing. And even though I would really love to try these other Rowen products, I want to preserve the excitement and like the purity of my feelings for the ones that I own. And I feel like the best way to do that is to just stick with the ones that I own in terms of buying them for myself. But that's why they would make a good gift, but they wouldn't, to me, make a good purchase at this point. Already in the second product, we're getting into some old school wishes. Clinique Nude Pop. This is a blush I have wanted for so long, and I've swatched it in stores so many times. I've coveted it. I've watched Lauren almost pan hers, and I've just been like, I wish I could have that blush someday. I just feel like it would be the perfect blush for me. I love the finish of the Clinique Cheek Pop formula. It's like a slightly satiny, almost sheeny finish, very, very, very skin-like, definitely not matte, and I love that very, very pale, almost nothing neutral nude color for a blush. And in spite of feeling like I've been dancing around it, I don't feel like I quite have that yet. I do feel like it's not something that I quite exactly own. Something just like Nude Pop, and I feel like Nude Pop is the one. I've never bought it, I think because of the price. I think it just feels like a little bit much every time I'm almost there. It's like $30 for one little round blush. I know that $30 isn't insane for a blush, especially not a high-end blush, but it's just, I don't know, it's just like that desire has gone over the hill and down the other side of the mountain. And so I think about it and I think about it, but it no longer has like that prickling. It's no longer poking at me. It's something that I would love to receive as a gift. Like I would be over the moon if I received it as a gift. And I think I would probably love it and get a lot of use out of it, but I just don't feel like spending my own money on it. So that's why it's on this list. Kind of the same goes for what's third on the list, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, an iconic product that I have always wanted to try, and it's just a little bit too much for me to spend on that type of product. It's this weird product where it's not a primer, it's not a highlighter, and it's definitely not like a foundation, but it's kind of all three, but it's kind of like liquid skin tint, sort of tinted moisturizer illuminator. Like nobody will say what it is, and it's everything and it's nothing. And there's something that really attracts me about that, but it also, to me, it makes it feel impractical. And I've tried to get samples a couple of times, but I haven't really gotten into it enough to be able to be sure about it. I always use the samples up completely, but then I don't feel convinced. And it's just something that I feel like I'm never going to know about it until I own it, until I own the whole bottle. But I don't prioritize owning the whole bottle of it over anything else that I want to buy with my budget. And so it's just never made the cut when I've been trying to decide what I want to spend my budget on. So that's why it's on this list. It would be a great gift for me, I feel, but it's not something that would be a great purchase, I think. Here's one that's a little bit more new that doesn't have a ton of hype around it. It has hype to me. It's the Nabula Cutie palette in Nude. So Nabula came out with these two Cutie palettes. One was a little bit more colorful, and then there was this one. It has these beautiful sheeny shadows that everyone says are a little bit bouncy. It's almost like a cream to powder. And in that palette, there is like a gleamy, glossy, black, creamy cream to powder formula eyeshadow. That is my dream. Also, Mariah Leonard really loves it. She talks up these shadows a lot. That makes me want to own it. And I just can't get behind me buying eyeshadow. I just can't. It's just ridiculous. I have so much eyeshadow. So every time I think about maybe spending part of my budget on it, I'm like, Hannah, get yourself together. Even though it's special, even though you don't own any Nabula palettes and it would be great to review, I just can't bring my not minimalist, but my slightly minimal self to commit to buying it. But if someone gave it to me, I'd be over the moon. Similarly, the Visart, the Dark Edit palette. This is just so pretty to me. It's just so pretty. And this would be even less practical for me, I feel, than the Nabula one. Like the Nabula one, at least I can make the argument that it has that innovative cream to powder formula. I can make the argument that I've never tried Nabula shadows before. I can make the argument that it's got that black, that sheeny black in it, which has been something that I've been thinking about a lot. So there are all of these reasons why the Nabula Cutie palette is kind of like the same as eyeshadow, but different. But the Visart, the Dark Edits palette, no. Like I own a bunch of these colors. I've tried Visart shadows. I think there are a bunch of mattes in here, which wouldn't make it ideal for me. It's just so pretty. It's just so pretty that it makes me want to hold it in my hand. And when it released, I saw it and I was like, that's the most me Visart palette that's ever released. It's the kind of thing that I wouldn't buy for myself, but I would put it on my Christmas wish list. So that's why it made the cut for this list. It's another one that I would just be so excited. Like if I opened a present and it was in there, I would be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But not enough for me to buy it. Definitely not. There are a lot of reasons why it wouldn't be a smart purchase for me, the Visart Dark Edit palette. I feel like it's receiving an honorable mention from me by being on this list because I think it's one of the prettiest eyeshadow releases and most covetable in recent memory for me. I just caught sight of myself in the monitor and I remembered that I forgot to tell you guys what Joe said when he saw me in this sweater. You want to know what he said? He looked at me and then he looked down at my chest and he said, "Your eyes are down there." All right, we're getting back into some like old school, wanted them forever, won't ever buy it for myself type of products. Two products from Tom Ford. The first one is the Tom Ford Cream and Powder in Naked Bronze, which is something that Samantha Ravndal has talked up a lot. It's that little single eyeshadow thing where there's the cream, you unscrew it and there's the cream, and then you flip up the lid and there's the powder on top. And I think that Naked Bronze is the one that she has talked about a lot. Golden Peach also looks really beautiful. If I were picking one, I would probably pick the bronze one because bronze is like my favorite go-to color for eyeshadow. But I wouldn't say no to Golden Peach either. Those are just two really, really, really beautiful, iconic little products that would be such a joy to try, such a joy to wear, such a joy to own, and I would probably get a lot of use out of one of those. I feel like it would be the kind of thing that if I were creating like a super ultra edited minimalist collection, I could put one of those in there and it could take care of like all sorts of things. It could knock all sorts of things off the table and it would just be it, and it would be Tom Ford, and that would be really gratifying. But that's not my life, girl. That's not my life. So I'm going to stick with what I have. I don't need to buy that. I don't particularly need to receive it as a gift, but it definitely deserves a place on this list. And the other Tom Ford product that I have coveted for ages, this is something I've never actually seen in person or tried on, and it might actually not be smart. So if you've tried it or you own it, you should let me know. There's a Tom Ford lipstick called Open Kimono. And I think, what can I say, like 85% of my draw is the name Open Kimono. How verbally satisfying is that? Open kimono, open kimono. Not to mention the visual, not to mention like what it implies. It's like the word nude has been transformed into a poem, a 2-word poem, Open Kimono. I want that lipstick. I want Tom Ford Open Kimono. But it's got it's also a beautiful, a little bit of slightly, I think, cool toned nude. Like the color is really beautiful, and so it's not just that. It's like you look at the color and you look at the name, and then you look back at the color, and then you look at the name, if you're me, and then you just die, and then you put it on your theoretical makeup that you would never buy for yourself, but that you really, really want list for all time. The color, though, it's really beautiful shade-wise, and then I think it has a tiny bit of micro shimmer running through it. And is it going to be one of those things where I put it on and then I look like, I don't know, not right? Is it going to be something that's not flattering to the lips? Is it going to age me? Is it going to not look chic? I don't know. I usually shy away from the idea of like a frosty. This is the question. Is it frosty? Is Open Kimono frosty, or is that slight shimmer actually really flattering, and is it something that I should keep on this theoretical list for all time? If you know, tell me. And lastly, on my little list of theoretical desires, no, actual desires that are theoretical wish list items, is Victoria Beckham Onyx. I can't remember what the product is called, but it's the pot eyeshadow that she came out with. She came out with these like creamy eyeshadows in a little pot, and one of them is called Onyx, and it is the perfect tarry, sparkly black, shiny black pudding eyeshadow. I have wanted that since it released. I've had my eye on it. And this is the one where it's like, I don't fancy the idea of placing an order from the Victoria Beckham website just to get Onyx. If I were to place an order from the Victoria Beckham website, I feel like I would not be able to keep myself from putting a palette in there and maybe a lip liner as well, because I would then be reviewing it on my channel and it would be like this unboxing, and maybe I'll do that. I feel like there haven't been very many reviews of her products, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll actually take part of my budget next month and put it towards a little order from Victoria Beckham, and I'll include Onyx, and I'll include a couple of other things, and I'll do a review, because I would love to review that brand. So maybe I'll do that. I wouldn't be totally against that, but really, I really just want the one. I really just want the one thing. So if someone were to magically like give that to me, I would be so, so excited. I've just been coveting it and coveting it and coveting it. So it's the perfect example of a thing that I'm not rushing to buy myself, even though I would like to spend some of my budget on that. Like I wouldn't be feeling like it was a bad choice. For a number of reasons I wouldn't. I'm just not. For practical reasons, for reasons of time, logistics, etc., etc. I just am not gonna buy it right now. So it's on this list. And that is it. That's the whole list. And here's an interesting thing that has happened to me as I've talked through these. I have felt like it might make sense to actually move some of them to my wish list. And here's why. I genuinely want some of them. Like there are some of these that I'm talking about that made me realize that it would make me really, really happy. And that's what should be on a list, right? That's what should be on a wish list, things that would make you really happy. Some of them would make me really, really happy to receive. And talking them through, I realized that I'm genuinely not going to buy them for myself. So that's another thing that makes a good presence on a holiday wish list. So I might put some of these on my wish list. I think I'm going to put the Nabula Cutie palette over there. I think I might put Clinique Nude Pop over there, and maybe the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I might put that over there. Those are like a couple of things that I feel like it would kind of make normal sense to have on that wish list. Not that I'll then receive them. I definitely don't. I always have like 5 times more things on my wish list than it would make sense for my family to give to me, because we tend to just do like one thing. Like I might get one thing from my parents together. I might get one thing from my sister. I'll just get like 3 or 4 things for Christmas. So it's not, I already have like way more things than that. I like to give them a variety from which to choose. But it would just make sense. It would make practical sense for me to put a couple of these over there and just diversify my wish list a little bit. So I am going to go ahead and do that. That means that this isn't entirely theoretical, but you get the gist. I've been sharing kind of my long-term, forever wish list of makeup items that I want enough and I've thought about enough that I would be delighted to receive, but that for one reason or another, I'm just not over here buying. And I think that that's interesting. So I hope that you enjoyed it as well. If it was interesting for you. I appreciate you so much for watching this video. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.